You do her tattoos?
I did all her tattoos, yeah.
Seriously?
Yep. Her mom gave me a tattoo gun for Christmas on my 21st birthday.
Here's your tattoo machine.
Yeah. I was 21.
And then he was like,
we weren't even married
let's not
yet.
practice on fruit. Let's go straight to a human canvas.
All the guys right now are going, God, the mother-in-law's awesome too.
Oh, it turned out to be a great tool. I mean, I took my tattoo gun to Iraq.
Welcome to the Cigar Preacher. I'm a pastor in Arizona, and for years, I've enjoyed great conversations over cigars. Today, my guests are Adam and Jenel Mayhugh, and I've been friends with these guys for years, and I gotta tell you, they are wonderfully weird. From the military to tattoos to Mormonism, you never know where the conversation might lead. Join us today as we talk about cigars, life, and what matters most. I'm Chad Moore, and I'm the Cigar Preacher. Yeah, what kind of cigars do you like?
I am usually an acid person. Sometimes you have to pick your cigar based on your outfit. And I'm feeling the
On your outfit? That's usually how I do it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, what am I wearing today?
I'm gonna go with the very first cigar I ever had, which was a Ashton VSG.
That's the exact cigar I'm gonna get.
Yeah?
I'm gonna smoke the one you gave me
Eclipse.
earlier, but I'm gonna buy one of these.
Oh, awesome.
The Eclipse.
Oh,
This is the old
my
faithful
all-time
right
favorites.
here.
Oh yeah.
All right,
Really
we
good.
excited.
good?
Yeah.
Who's cutting this for me? Look at these nails.
I'll touch it.
What's your favorite cigar?
Favorite cigar is an Ashton VSG.
Is it really?
It really is.
Yeah.
I can't get the aroma out of my head. It's just nothing matches an Ashton VSG in my opinion.
I am not as cool as you guys. I pick my
No,
cigars
you are cooler.
based on how cute they are and whether or not they match my outfit. So
What?
today we're going with Leather Rose because she looks rad.
Do you have a favorite cigar memory? Like this is the best cigar overall experience that you can remember and think back to?
On our honeymoon, I remember sitting on the back of the cruise ship and just had the stars all to myself. It was pitch black, and it's probably one of the coolest moments of my life, just sitting back there smoking a nice big cigar. It was awesome.
You want to hear my best cigar memory?
Sure.
Okay. I'm in Scotland, and it's my 40th birthday. And somebody had given me a Cuban cigar. It was the, we were talking about earlier, the H. Upmann Magnum 50, which is my favorite cigar. And the oldest pub in the UK is in Duddingston Village. It's called the Sheep Heed. And I go in, I order a fish and chips, and I'm sitting in the courtyard, and it starts to drizzle just a little bit. There's an old Scottish dude, like over in the corner, big burly beard, tartan, smoking this huge, like Sherlock Holmes pipe. So I break out the H. Upmann Magnum 50 with my fish and chips, and I'm having this conversation with this old Scottish guy. It's just drizzling rain in this courtyard, and I'm like, this is like perfect. Like it doesn't get any better than this. And to top it off, it was my 40th birthday. So anyway.
I did not start with cigars. I started with a corncob pipe.
She did, actually. That was originally...
Just out of being like rebellious, like you guys are going to smoke cigars. Yeah. I'm going to get a
like Frosty the Snowman, a corncob
like
pipe.
We were at this like beautiful place and everyone's picking out these cigars. I'm like, I want that corncob pipe. And the lady's like, dust it off. Here you go. And then I picked like a butterscotch rum pipe tobacco, and it was awesome. And I felt like Frosty the Snowman.
That's still your favorite to this day.
It is.
I know you guys have a humidor at home, like a cigar room.
Yep.
How did that happen?
Because I'm way cool. Let's just start with you have a cool wife, one. And then two, we own an older home. It has a add-on that's kind of disconnected from the rest of the home. So it doesn't have a filtration system that goes into the rest of the house. So that was
an add-on to the house.
Mm-hmm. So step one for me was, just sealing it away.
Anything cloth holds smoke. So you want everything to be a smooth surface that you can wipe the ashes off.
Got leather chairs.
Because it's not necessarily the smoke that makes the room smell. It's the ashes after time. They get spread out. So if you can keep the ashes cleaned up, the smell doesn't build up.
My biggest concern is someone walking in and being like, "Ooh, your house smells like ash or something." But I try to do everything I can to make sure people don't know that I have dogs, kids, or smoke cigars. So I think I do all right.
I stopped by Adam and Jenel's house to see the cigar room.
Welcome.
It was an addition to the original house. This was a carport at that time, and we redid the entire thing, put a whole new roof on, and
added floors.
And
well, let me see your humidor. Do you have
check
like
it out? Yep, so it's a 300 count humidor. It's weather, or at least temperature controlled, because of the fact that if I don't keep the air on in here throughout the summer, it gets pretty warm, and if your cigars get over 80, 85 degrees, it's going to start drying out, regardless of the amount of humidity that you try to put into it. So this is probably one of my favorites, the Melanio. I'm sure you've had a few of these.
Yeah, I have. I had one yesterday, actually.
Did you really? Yeah, these are by far one of my favorites. So
is that your corncob pipe there that we talked about? Look how small that thing is.
Yeah, it's like frosty.
One of the things I noticed, you guys have tons of pictures. The two of you and your son. You've taken trips. I noticed your map on the wall that you've put little pins in everywhere you've been. You guys are like a super tight family.
We're buddies.
Yeah, that's not a bad word for it, buddies. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons it's worked out so well, is we were friends before anything ever turned into anything else, and so we never changed. We never stopped being friends. So.
Is that something you guys intentionally work on, or is it just kind of naturally happen?
There's a lot of naturalness to it. It's weird that I ended up marrying my best friend because I didn't.
It's not weird, dude. It's awesome.
Yeah. It is awesome, but it's like, I feel bad for men that I watch that can't wait to get away from their wives. And I'm like, I couldn't picture doing this without my wife. Like, it's not gonna be as fun if she ain't there to see me hit this golf ball, because I want to impress her too. You know what I'm saying? So the moment I met her, I went, I'm gonna marry that girl that day. I even went home and told my dad. I was like, I met the girl I'm gonna marry. She had a boyfriend that I just, for some reason, knew. Just for some reason.
So I was thinking about this, Jenel. A lot of dudes, like, their dream would be for their wife or their girlfriend to smoke a cigar with them. What advice do you have?
Well, appeal to their greed. Every girl wants you to sit and talk with them all day long. So if you said, hey, if I have one of these in my hand, I'm gonna sit and talk to you for like an hour and a half, they'll be like, where do we sign up for that? Okay, yeah, go get that. And if you do it with me, that's even cooler. So I would say that.
So long conversations.
Mm-hmm. You'll get a long conversation out of it.
All right. Write that down.
Agree to all the hygiene requirements, because if she's like, make sure you brush your teeth, and then wash your face, and then wash your hands. Done. And then, I don't know, I think when you bring someone somewhere, it's like less intimidating. Like, this is exact same way you pick a bottle of wine. This is how I pick out cigars. Like, show her your hobby. Like, this is where I go. This is what it looks like. And don't you think this label's cool? And I think feeling a part of it is just as much fun as saying, okay, do you really want to try actually smoking it now?
Yeah. So the hygiene part, it's about conversation.
Yes.
Invite her into that world.
Mm-hmm. Get them their own stuff, like a bag of their own cutter and their own lighter.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
How long have you been married?
You can do it.
Look at me.
You can do it.
Why, so I can answer wrong?
Find out.
18 years.
So 18 years of marriage.
Yep.
We'll go beauty first.
Okay.
What marriage advice do you have?
I literally write it in any book I give anybody. I always say, like, I am not your wife. I am your friend. If we cannot be friends, it's like, I don't know how it works. If you don't look forward to phone calls, texts, hanging out in a friend way, I don't know how marriages work when you're not friends. So I just always say, stay friends.
That's your, so if somebody's getting married and you're doing a little advice.
I just always say, remember that he's your friend, by the way. Like, at one point you weren't together and he was just my friend Adam and I was just his friend Jenel. like where, when you have a moment, you need to remember like your friends.
Yeah.
By the way.
So if somebody was kind of having a hard time in their relationship right now, your advice would be?
I'd be like, take me back. What stupid joke did he tell you at a stoplight? What thing did he, what makes him your friend? I wouldn't even talk about like relationship stuff. I would be like, what makes him a cool person to be around?
What's your marriage advice? 18 years of marriage.
Oh man, I probably spent the first 10 years of our marriage just, you know what? I don't like this about you. I don't like this. I wish you would change this. I wish you would do this. And I don't know.
Idea that she's always the problem.
Yeah, right, absolutely.
I don't know where you got that idea from.
And so I started realizing maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I started noticing a lot when I had to change a lot. She's been the same since I met her. She hasn't changed at all. I mean, she's just the same. It's the weirdest thing. She's gotten more mature over the years.
He's waiting for this like closet, like rip my face mask off. Like, it's me.
I don't get
it's been me the whole time.
Yeah. You wouldn't recognize me from 20 years ago, but her, same person.
A few more tattoos.
She'd have more if I wasn't so lazy, because, yeah.
You do her tattoos?
I did all her tattoos, yeah.
Seriously?
Yep. Her mom gave me a tattoo gun for Christmas on my 21st birthday.
Here's your tattoo machine.
Yeah. I was 21.
And then he was like,
we weren't even married yet.
Let's not practice on fruit. Let's go straight to a human canvas.
All the guys right now are going, God, the mother-in-law's awesome too.
Oh, it turned out to be a great tool. I mean, I took my tattoo gun to Iraq.
How long did you serve in the military?
About 10 years.
Okay.
About 10 years.
Thank you for your service.
My pleasure.
Which branch?
Army.
Yep. You joined the military after you guys were married?
Yes. Mm-hmm. We had been married for
4 years.
4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
That's a big decision.
3 years.
3 years.
3 years. Yeah, and then we found out maybe 4 days after I joined the Army that she was pregnant with our kid. Yeah, I went to basic training right after we found out she was pregnant. So I didn't come back for 6 months. And she 7 months, and she was fully pregnant. My dad had to do all the go into the store in the middle of the night to get the hot Cheetos and stuff like that.
The hot Cheetos?
Yeah.
That's all I wanted.
My wife, it was KFC, coleslaw, and mashed potatoes.
I felt like a lumberjack. I was like, that's how I was like, I was positive we were having a boy, because I was like, I am just violent and I just want meat and like potatoes.
How hard was that on your relationship? Because I know a lot of military families really struggle.
It's probably the hardest thing we ever did.
I can compartmentalize, like, this is what we're doing, it needs to be done. He really struggled with, in the first probably 2 months, we didn't even speak. They don't let you talk. Like, boot camp is a no-go. Right. I think the harder part was, after he came back, they give you about 2 weeks to get your stuff together, and then they're literally like, here's where you're going, you're stationed there. Once we got to the very first duty station, James was born probably a month after that. He got 2 weeks off, and then I was at an apartment in a state away from my family. That part hit me a little bit, like, we live nowhere near our family, we have no friends.
Out of the 10 years, I was probably gone for 4, maybe 5.
If you put all the field,
if
you put all the field trips and anything, it adds up to about like 4 years, probably 3 or 4 years.
All right, here we go. Memory lane.
Where do you want to start? Army?
This is, I was going to say.
Let's let Jenel.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, let her.
So okay, first I need you to say.
She's good at this. She made these books anyway, so she.
I need to find.
This is not an official United States Army photo album.
So this is my favorite certificate on the planet, because I love to remind Adam that I have something from a higher commanding officer than him. So he's never.
Okay, let me see. What does it say?
So I used to run what's called the FRG. It's
Family Readiness Group.
Yeah, when the spouses are home alone and their spouse is deployed, it's my job to like check in on them, make sure they're okay, in charge of the lives.
I did notice the last sentence is, and I trust you will support your husband's decision to continue his career in the Army.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
They're like, what is the word? Like, voluntold.
You were voluntold.
I was voluntold to support that.
That's awesome.
Weddings, funerals, all that kind of stuff. So this is boot camp.
Now wait a second. You spoke at a lot of weddings, funerals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If they ask someone in the military.
Whenever somebody died that was like in our unit, they always picked me to speak, because for some reason I was just really good at it.
Not crying.
Getting over the emotion and still being able to give a speech while your dead friend's laying there.
I've never seen sadness until you've been to a military funeral.
Oh, it's awful.
It's awful.
When they do the 21 gun salute.
And you're missing. How horrible. Yeah. Oh, it's terrible.
Well, hang on a second. Did you have a lot of friends die in your unit?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. So we have had more friends die at home than
I did in
overseas.
Iraq. You go to war and you think I'm going to go to war and die with these guys, but you just see them dying all over the place. 2 tours to Iraq
to come home and die at a bar in Killeen, Texas.
It happens way too often.
Yep. It's super sad. Yeah, after Adam got out of the military, he drove a semi-truck over the road for a little over a year. And we spent half the time in the truck with him. We went with him. Mm-hmm. So
just because you were driving a semi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Didn't know what to do. It was like getting out of the military. Didn't want to get out. I was medically retired. I got hurt in Iraq. And so it was one of those, hey, I thought I had a career. I'm halfway through it. Next thing you know, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And so truck driving was easy because I already knew how to drive big vehicles from the military. So
nothing will ever blow my mind more than watching someone parallel park an 18-wheeler.
Well, so, you guys did that as a family.
We did.
You can live in 64 square feet with another human.
And your kid?
I would take him for a month, then I would leave him home for a month.
28
then I would
days
take
on,
him for a
4
month.
days off.
Okay.
Yeah, and when they were with me, I didn't work as much as I did. We would stop and go to Disneyland and Worlds of Fun.
I was like the
New
annoying,
York. My son has seen almost every state in the country, and he's only 14 years old. So
yeah,
it's pretty cool. It was a nice adventure.
It was an experience.
Do you miss it, or were you like, that was good, I'm glad it's over?
I miss it. I miss it, but I also miss my son being a lot younger. So
to us, it was like that RV life.
You learn how to get along. If you ever want to learn how to get along with your spouse, live in a tiny little truck with them for a long, long period of time.
Well, I would think that's going one way or the other.
Yeah. Right.
We're getting stronger, or we're finishing
It'll
up
definitely
here.
put it to the test. That's for sure.
Or we're wrapping this up.
We made it through it. There was some rough days, but
So Jenel, it's obvious by the cigar and the tattoos that you grew up Mormon.
I did.
Yeah.
My dad and my whole family, born and raised. He was actually like the second counselor of our church growing up. So my family, it's kind of the bummer part about Mormonism is my dad was doing things that you shouldn't be doing, drinking, smoking, whatever. And when that happens, you are no longer worthy to go to church. So some of my childhood years, it would be like, we're at church and then we're not allowed to go to church. But it wasn't communicated to us. It was just times where we just weren't there. As an adult now, looking back, I realized
you found out later that you didn't make the cut that week.
We weren't good enough that year, which is kind of sad if you think about it.
Well, I want to be super respectful to everybody's faith, but obviously you're not a practicing Mormon now.
No.
You just mentioned that.
No.
How did that change? What happened in the realm of your faith?
My mom and dad got a divorce, and that's just family is everything to Mormon people.
It's built around
specifically
marriage.
men, and my dad did not take that well. So he kind of went off the deep end a little bit, started doing drugs, actually went to prison. I was dating a guy who was in a band with someone I may know, and I went to go watch one of their little shows, and it was at a church, and I thought, oh, okay, I've never been in another church besides mine before, and met him, and afterwards he just kind of was like, hey, heard a little bit about you. And at the time it was frustrating because people, in the sense of respecting other people, it was like, do you guys worship cats? Just constant dumb comments about Mormons. And I'd go, no, none of that's true, or yes, that's true, or whatever. And I didn't get the appeal of trying to like pick at me. And he was the only one who didn't do that. He just kind of was like, well, why do you believe that? Where do you get that from? And I was like, I don't know. And then I would go home, and my dad and my grandpa would be like, they would try to undo whatever he talked to me about that day. And it just slowly just chipped and chipped and chipped away till I was like, okay, I don't have a foundation anymore.
So you came out of Mormonism, but you still went to church. What kind of church was this, and what's your background?
It was a Nazarene church. I grew up in the Nazarene denomination, and I was the youth pastor at the church. And we would have punk rock Saturday night. We built a skate park and would have
punk rock. It's a cool church.
Yeah, cool.
It was his idea. He was like, hey, you want to get kids to come here, build a skate park and
touring punk rock bands that were Christian punk rock bands come down and play shows on Saturday nights. And I wasn't a believer most of my life, even though I grew up in the church. I was completely atheistic. I was learning what I learned in school, and I didn't think that it meshed with Christianity. And so I just blew it off as some fairy tale, stuff like that my parents had taught me growing up.
Were you like, when you were an atheist, were you like a pissed off atheist?
Oh, very, very pissed off.
Hello, he's covered in tattoos. There's happy, nice
definitely
tattoo
rebelled,
people,
right?
and then there's
So
rebel
why
creepy.
were you, because a lot of atheists I meet are pissed off, and I'm like, if it doesn't exist, why are you pissed off at it? Because you're not mad at the Easter Bunny.
Yeah, I was mad because if there is no God, you can't love me. I can't love you. A chemical reaction I have going off in my brain means nothing. If we're made out of the same chemicals that make up dirt, how come I can go hit a pile of dirt with a shovel, but I can't hit you? Nothing made sense to me. So I was just angry.
You went to the extreme of like the total anarchy. Like
angry that I had to live in a world where people are telling me this is the reality of life, and yet it doesn't fit with how you're telling me to live my life.
And that took you to a place where you were angry, and
it took me to a place where I had no other option but to say either love is a chemical reaction in my brain, or there are things that are transcendent beyond the physical reality.
And so you came to faith in God through this type of thinking.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%.
And then now you're a Christian, follower of Jesus. So how did you go from there to there to there?
So that led me into going, okay, since I've solved this conflict of what I call the presuppositional conflict. What is my presupposition? Is there a God or not a God? Once I solved that, it was which God is the right one. And that's when I started getting into, well, let's look at these old books and figure out which ones are obviously frauds, which ones are not. What can we look at? And I was blown away at some of the stories in the Old Testament. In fact, every law in a hospital of quarantine and things like that is in Leviticus. It's right there. And I was blown away by that. And I went, okay, something's going on here that I'm not seeing in all the other religious books of the world. And that's kind of how my mind got transformed into seeing the God for what he really is.
All right, so the Mormon girl goes to the Christian church,
Dirty
meets
punk rock
youth pastor, and you start questioning your Mormon beliefs?
Yeah, he just the questions were safe enough to go, I never thought about that before. After, it was about a year of just back and forth conversations between the two of us, I'd say, hey, in the middle of hey, answer this question for me. I trusted him enough to say, I don't think he's trying to mislead me or steal me away from my religion. I think he genuinely wants me to think about like what I'm doing and where I'm going in this world.
So you grew up in a church that there were weeks your family wasn't worthy to go. You're now sitting here with me with tattoos, smoking a cigar. What does grace mean to you? The grace of God. What did you discover just in the realm of Jesus and the goodness of God and amazing grace in your journey?
That's like two-part, because in one sense, the utmost relief of your salvation not being like whether I'm good enough is amazing. But in the same sense, there's just little parts of my brain that are like, do good, be better, try harder. And I have to constantly do like everybody else does and remind myself like, no, that's not how this works.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, that's what makes Christianity different. Religion
100%.
is about how good you are or bad you are. Christianity is about receiving the goodness of God.
And I think I see that more now when I see my Mormon friends or my Mormon family, and I see how much they're trying, and it's almost heartbreaking at this point. Like I look at it and I'm like, that's so sad. The relief of what I believe is true is not wake up, try harder, do better.
But instead receive the love he has for you.
100%.
Trust in it.
Yeah.
Walk in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to thank Adam and Jenel for joining me today. We got to talking about the difference between religion and biblical Christianity. You can take every religion in the history of mankind and sum it up in this word. It's advice. This is what you have to do to work your way to God. But biblical Christianity is something different. It's all about the gospel, and the word gospel means good news. This is what God has done to work his way to you in and through the person of Jesus. News is not something you achieve. News is something you choose whether or not you will believe and receive. Join us next time as we talk about cigars, life, and what matters most on the Cigar Preacher.